Hello everybody. Gaming is a way of life. With the advent of mobile gaming and improvements to hardware such as sound cards, graphics and faster processors used in playing these games, it is no longer a niche arena for a certain age group or consumer segment, but has become a viable form of entertainment for players of all genres. This has created job prospects for artists, designers and developers in the gaming industry. Extended reality or XR is an umbrella category that covers a spectrum of newer immersive technologies such as virtual reality, AI, AR and mixed reality. It has already changed the way we work, we live and we play. The AIOs, that is the all-in-ones used by consumers all worldwide, can be used for immersive gaming, to remote learning, to virtual training. Large enterprises are adding XR into their workflows and design processes with the inclusion of digital twin. XR drastically improves implementation and design. By streaming over 5G from the cloud, as we know 5G has been rolled out, people can use XR devices and get the computational power to run XR experiences from a data center regardless of location and time. Now the metaverse landscape offers a new opportunity for game developers to connect with their customers in new and improved ways. We can even hold virtual events and game demonstrations in XR. Gaming brings people together. So enjoy, explore and emphasize with your own prowess. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. So, welcome to our session for today, and that's called Aiming for Gaming. We are super excited to be here today, and we have some wonderful panelists with us today. Of course, gaming is something that we all love. I mean, let's accept it. Who doesn't love that tip tap of that mechanical keyboard? And of course, that wonderful game graphics. And let's not forget winning that game with your amazing team. It's fun, right? And we have two people right here with us who broke the odds and have come across and built a career in gaming itself. So before we go ahead, let me quickly introduce our panelists today. Firstly, we have with us Faizan Shah Ansari. Faizan Shah was a student here at Vivekanand back in 2020. He graduated in 2020 as a computer engineering student. He went on to do his games engineering masters in Newcastle University. He's currently studying there. So we're super excited to have you here, Faizan. And how have you been?
Yeah, so I've been great. So to be honest, as soon as I completed my graduation, I was thinking of doing this master's course, but things didn't go well because COVID came. And as soon as the COVID came, thankfully, I was having a bit of I had a bit of heated discussion with my parents that I'm not gonna sit in interviews and stuff like that because I'm going for masters. Why do I need to sit in? And they're like, have a backup option. And to be honest, that's a really good point. And thankfully, due to their advice, I got a job in Geo, Reliance Geo. Worked there for an year, and then as soon as I finished my job there, I just went for my masters in Newcastle University. After coming here, to be honest, I still remember my first day. This place is amazing. I mean, it looks beautiful. The scenery from here, and even the university. So university is divided into two parts. There's like the old version of the university, and there's a new version of the university. The new one is like all like techie stuff here. Everything is automated. You go inside, it's the temperature control, all the gates and everything they're automated. It looks like a like really science fiction. The whole place is really good with all the advancements. And the old one, you have like old arches and stuff like that. It's a red brick building. And to be honest, it's a very reputed university. And recently I came to know that Rowan Atkinson, that means Mr. Bean, has been an alumni from our college. Mark King Luther Jr. has been an alumni from our college. So yeah, I mean, good people have gone from here. And to be honest, when I started studying, I thought that it'll be like, like your college, normal college, you'll go there, you study stuff. But to be honest, masters is a bit different. When you go there, you have fun, you enjoy, and here in Newcastle, especially, they are very much practical oriented. From day one itself, we are just given our PCs, like we literally have like, they have like gaming PCs, like two monitors, and like GTX. So at that time we had like GTX. Now they're gonna upgrade to RTX for ray tracing and stuff. But I think they have GTX 1070s, if I'm not wrong, or yeah, I don't remember the specs. But yeah, and so I came to the lab the first day, and I was like, okay, cool. Then there's a corner section inside my lab. I went there, and guess what I saw? So there are PlayStation 4s, there are Xbox, there is Oculus, there's Oculus. Then you have like all the VRs in here, and you also have Nintendo. So basically, all the gaming consoles that you can imagine were there. The weird thing is though, I've not played on a lot of these because I was busy in programming stuff than playing stuff. So yeah, that was the lab experience. The lab is pretty nice. And the four lecturers which were there for my course, one of them is now the dean of the college. So he's actually operating the college, and he's a really cool guy. He's a very like he's a very open guy. You can go to him anytime and ask him whatever you want to ask. One of them is basically he's the placement in charge kind of thing. So here we say business engagement officer. Another one is a research student. He's a really old research student. uh, he also has worked with Nvidia and stuff like that. So he's actually a really smart guy. And then we have another guy who's really good in C++. So basically, and all these four lecturers, they were available throughout the years. So yeah, I mean, for the course, it went pretty good. I mean, and also, so the course is not just you take an engine and then like Unity or Unreal, and then you just start dragging and dropping stuff like you're doing MS Paint and then you have something. No. So in the course, you actually learn the technical details. So mine is more like technical oriented than the design part. You do see the design, but that also is in respect with the technical stuff which is there. So from the day one itself, day one, like first module was like learning advanced programming concepts like smart pointers, etc., etc. And then after that, we started making our own game engine. How cool is that? So we made our own game engine, and then on that we made our own game. And yeah, that was pretty much the whole course. Now I'm currently working on a research project. So till now, it has been an amazing experience. I cannot lie. I mean, the experience was amazing. If you have any problem, you can just go to because to be honest, if you are working with a dean, like one of your lecturers is a dean, you wouldn't have any problem. I don't know if I should be saying this, but also for the attendance, things there are a bit different. A lot of times I was like, okay, today I'm not feeling like going to the college. I didn't used to go to the college. But the thing was, the professor said, see, if you can, like, to be honest, if you come to the lab, your experience is going to be different because you're going to be interacting with your colleagues, and that's how it's going to be in the real studio, right? So that's one important thing that should be there. So, he said one thing: I don't care about your attendance. It's your life. You're grown up. If you don't care about your attendance, I'm anyways going to say, okay, he was there. It doesn't matter to me, but you're going to impact your own life. So, that actually doesn't force you to come to the college. You when you realize actually what you're getting from the college, you happily every time you wake up and then you run to the college. And one good thing is it's flexible, so you can like my course. One thing I would like to point out: these things were only for my course because one of our leaders were dean. For other people, come at 9, go at 5. Don't do this, don't do that. So yeah, it was a it was a pretty fun experience. Even settling into my accommodation and everything. I got one of the studio accommodations from the university, so yeah, it has been pretty nice, pretty good. City is good.
That's nice. That's nice.
Yeah.
I genuinely love the part where you just said that Mr. Bean was from your college. So I'm like, yes, we're going to root on Faizan to bring the humor to the whole show today.
Yeah.
But of course, we are going to move on and now introduce Umesh because, of course. So Umesh is also a graduate from Vivekanand Computer Engineering, and he's from the batch of 2019. So Umesh is also doing games engineering, and he's doing it in the Technical University of Munich, and he's doing his masters as well. Fun fact: both of you guys are graduating this year, and that's super cool. So Umesh, why don't you tell me how you've been? What are you up to?
Yeah, so my experience was quite different than that of Faizan's because here, so like in Vivekanand, we have like fixed courses that we have to do. This is this. But for us, it's like there is a giant catalogs. There are some possibilities of electives, and then you have to pick and choose what you want. And initially, that choice can be overwhelming, but you can then try a lot of stuff. For example, I was mostly into like game physics, with physics engines, and little bit of computer graphics and deep learning for computer graphics, deep learning for like 3D geometry, 3D computer vision, and stuff like that. So that I took courses along these lines, and also a bit of augmented and virtual reality. But you can do like you have a wide spectrum, and even though the degree is named games engineering, it's not necessary that you take games related courses, and it's not more oriented to like game programming. It's more like yeah, 3D scanning, motion capture, or if you want to do 3D computer vision, robotics, you can feel free to do so. You want to do cryptography? Yeah, sure. So with that choice, there's a responsibility that you have to manage the buckets. You have to pick correct courses, and yeah, attendance is not really a thing here. You just have to like sit for the exam, and even for the exam, some people purposely fail the exam so that now they have seen the exam, and when they sit for the retake or the next exam, they'll get a better grade. So it's like a totally different
Wow.
culture. Yeah, so I mostly focused on like deep learning and yeah, deep learning for 3D geometry, deep learning for computer graphics, physics, and so on.
Got it, got it. That sounds amazing. I think that's like really fun. I mean, yeah, that's probably true. But I mean, yeah, of course. Now that you're doing masters, I know it started somewhere. So I want to really know that what excited you about gaming, what made you choose it, and where did it all start? It might have started somewhere, right? So I want that whole backstory from you guys. Umesh, why don't you go first, and then we'll follow up with Faizan.
Okay. So mine actually started with IEEE in our university. So
Yeah.
I was like the web developer, and I created like a VR app once. So it was I think it was 2017, and VR was not that. So you had this like Google VR boxes or something that you
Mm-hmm.
could buy from Amazon for like 200 rupees or something. Then I created an app that you could like look into it, and when you look into the real world, there will be tables set up, and in the VR world there will be a planet with some name and some description of what things you can find on that table. So it was like a mini game that IEEE hosts. So that's where it all started, and then I did my internship at Parallax Labs, which is like a XR startup, like a serious game XR startup. uh, yeah, and I was doing my internship for like 2 years along with my course at Vivekanand, which was very difficult, but I managed it somehow. And after that, I also did like 1 year of full time, and then I wanted to like learn things in more detail. So there was this device called as HoloLens, and it has this feature where if you keep something in the real world, and if you like shut the device off, and if you like come from some other room, it will remember that there was an object, virtual object placed there, which was very interesting. And I wanted to learn more about like how does one do it, and like more detail about how does a game engine work, how do you optimize certain applications and stuff like that. So that's why I went for the masters,
Yeah.
and that was one of the reasons why I chose TUM, because the course is not fully game programming based or like just around games. You can also do computer vision and stuff like that. So that was one of the major reason why I chose to do masters here, and also tuition fees.
Got it. So I think that internship also like really helped you get a sneak peek into the sort of the gaming
Yeah.
industry, right? That's
Yep.
amazing. I think that experience is all that matters. So yeah, Faizan, what about you? What was your
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay, according to you, what do you think when my journey would have started? Like at what age?
I'm pretty sure you might have started gaming and then that's how the journey began.
Yes, but at what age?
I'm guessing 10th grade.
I was 6 years old. I was
What?
6 years old, and
Interesting.
I used to do like crazy gaming. I used to play like car racing games on my dad's PC. But that's not when it all started. So after that, when I was a bit older, maybe around 10 years or something, 10 or 12. My grandfather, or no, maybe I think it was around 6 and 7 years only. When I used to go back to my village, my grandfather used to take me to this arcade center. So there was an arcade shop beside the laundry shop. He used to take the laundry, and I used to play in the arcade shop. And so every time he used to take me, I used to get excited. Everyone was so passionate, and you're in arcade, you're like, da, 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 da. And I used to say, "Oh, damn, that looks so cool." And I used to spend hours and hours there. Some days, even when there's no laundry, I used to ask my uncle to take me there just for fun. So it all started there. So I was really passionate about games. at some point in life, I also thought of doing robotics. But then, thanks to my physics teacher in my school, I dropped that idea, and then there was nothing wrong. It was just that my interest was more oriented towards the computer science because I loved C++. So in my school, in my 11th grade, I was introduced to C++. And on the day one itself, not on the day one actually, there was one day where our teacher, she told that you can make any project. Okay. Then from then I thought, wait, how are games made? So I asked her that, like, is there an industry where I can be with games and also do programming? And then she's like, do a Google search. And I did like game plus programming, and there's actually a field where you can go ahead and do game programming. And yeah, since that day itself, like, to be honest, yeah, my whole like search about this industry and my courses and everything, it started from that day itself. So from my 11th standard, I started looking at things, how to do stuff. In first year, by the end of first year, I was working. I had completed one Python game developing courses from Internshala. So they do this course where they basically, you can learn the basics of a game, and it's pretty good for someone who is new because Python is an easy language. But I would not recommend you using Python as actual tool because it's very slow. Yeah, other than that, so then I also made a small game or I was in process of making a small game in Unreal Engine. uh, Once I completed my first year, from my second year onwards, I started making the list of universities, and by the end of third year, I had I started getting offers from everyone. So before completing my college, I had offers from all the universities, and now you know why I was fighting with my parents that I don't need to sit on the interviews, because I had 8 offer letters, 8 from UK, and one was from the US. It was UCSC, Santa Cruz, Silicon Valley campus. But I didn't go there because I just chose the UK. I don't know why. So pretty because I just felt that it'll be the companies here would be really nice fit for me. I also applied to UCSC, but I was too lazy to give GRE, so they were like, "No, sorry." But yeah, next year in COVID, they didn't even take GRE, so I don't know what happened. Yeah. So when I came here, so basically I got all those offer letters, and then the geo thing happened, as I said in the start. And then when I came here, I fell more in love with the games because I realized that how amazing the backend stuff is, the actual technical stuff. Because I knew quite a few things, but when you actually go into how the like really deep into how everything was, like scratch to the very basic main function, how things go. It's amazing how things are binded together, and a lot of things that are done in game engine. Sometimes you don't even realize what you just if you use game engine like Unreal Engine and Unity, you don't realize the beauty of how things are made behind. So all these things made me 100% sure that I want to do that. I want to go into the gaming industry.
Got it. I think that sounds pretty great. I think you guys had it like clear in your head, like way early that wanted to go down this road, and you were like you had a lot of clarity. So that's pretty cool because I think a lot of people who are watching this session today are trying to find that clarity if this career is like meant for them. And I think that this session will definitely answer those questions.
Yep.
So of
Also,
course,
I wanna say to the audience that it doesn't matter, to be honest. I've met a lot of people, and hardly anyone decides at that age where I decided. It was just something, I don't know. It was just maybe it's a fluke. It happened. But to be honest, it's not a problematic thing. I've seen a lot of my friends. They decided their career after graduating from Vivekanand. So that's totally fine if you guys are still struggling to find something.
it's true. I think one of the biggest questions that a lot of people have in their mind is gaming as a career is quite different. It's not like, how would I put it in words? It's like it's not the road like most likely taken, and it's not a path that's much explored by people, especially I would say maybe in the Indian community. So I mean, a big misconception that people have is they just think that games, the first thing that comes into your mind is entertainment. Okay. So are games really just meant for entertainment? And if that's what people think, how did you make sure that how did you get that clarity that you want to take this leap, you want to move into this industry and make it your career? So if you could probably brush us on that, that'd be amazing. So Faizan, what is your
Yeah,
take on it?
So this actually starts way back when, not way back, like this starts when I actually went ahead and told my parents, listen, I wanna actually I told them in 11th and 12th standard itself, but they used to laugh because what does he know? And then after that, when I kept on telling them, one day my my father came and he told me, sit down. Why do you want to do? Why do you work in the gaming industry? Like, what's there? And then we actually had a really I don't know what, but some kind of conversation. And I went and I started it like this. So I was like, think about this in this way. So this is my take. I'm not saying that you should have a same take, but you should have a take why you're gonna go into any XYZ industry. So for me, when I sat down with my father, I was like, listen, game is played by a lot of young people, right? And it captures a broad variety of audience, like so many people, not even the mainstream media reaches that many people. Games are like played by anyone and everyone. And I was like, you are getting a chance to capture or like to teach something to so many minds. Think of it as an education tool that is not actually an education tool, but it's an it just does something behind your, like, unconsciously, subconsciously, and that's the whole plan behind the serious games, right? So my concept from the starting itself was to go into serious games, but not the exact serious game, because what they look like, okay, yeah, I'm doing some simulation, or I'm doing simulation for like doctors or air force or something like that, or it's a history lesson. No, so I wanted to bring the mainstream games and the serious games somewhere in the middle. I want them to meet somewhere in the middle, so that it's a natural transition. So when I told my father all this, and also I told him, like, different things, like when you play, how your mind is, your muscle memory and stuff like that. So it's an actually muscle exercise for your brain. uh, a lot of things are happening inside your brain, and your brain is regularly active. So not all the games are like waste of time. So there are games that are good. And then when I made him realize that, he was actually surprised. He was surprised that there was a different take. And to be honest, everyone, wherever I go, they ask me, why games? They are just for entertainment. And once I give them this answer, they are like, okay, you have a different take on games, so I think you should go. So if you have a unique take on any industry, you have something to go for, then just go for it. Otherwise, just don't randomly follow. People are going there, I'll go there. So yeah, that's how basically I started my gaming journey. That's how I
Oh,
convinced my parents.
that's amazing. Umesh, what
Yeah.
about you? I mean, do you also feel the same way when you began this journey? Did you feel like you were breaking the odds and taking a leap to take up this as a career? And what were the challenges you faced while doing the same?
Um, since I got my internship, it was a bit easier for me to convince my parents because there was money coming in, and when there's money coming in, Indian parents usually don't
Yes.
they don't question. But yeah, like I agree with most of his statements, and like not just like entertainment is not just video games. Nowadays, if you look at like Mandalorian series, the backdrop was made in a,
Yes.
uh, like it was rendered in real time in Unreal Engine,
Yes.
and there there are like a lot of concerts that use Unreal Engine to like render stuff
Yes.
in
Yes. Yes.
background.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you don't just make games. You can make a lot of things. You can make movies. You can make, I don't know, music, songs, or whatever you want. And even in non-gaming sector, there are like you can do robotics. You can do like there is a huge requirement for like simulation data, and game engines do provide very reliable simulation data. So there are a lot of directions, and it's not just like the normal, like video games are not the only thing that use game
I
engines
agree.
or
I agree.
those concepts. So yeah, there are there are a lot of paths that you can take if you decide to come in this field,
I think that's
and
the
every
biggest
path has like
misconception.
its own.
Yeah, I think that's like the biggest misconception, right? The second you say games, people just think about video games. No one actually goes ahead to explore the other parts, that are actually opened up. So thanks for telling us more about, what are the other parts that are there within this sector in itself. But following that up, Umesh, I just wanted to ask you, so what are the steps that, as a student, so you told me you started off when you were in IEEE, right? So what were the steps that a student should take to start a career as a games engineer or a games developer, or basically in the industry of gaming? Is there some prerequisites that you should learn before you start this journey so that you have a better understanding? Or how can one go about with it?
Yeah, it's same. It's kind of same like learning a new programming language. So on top of learning a programming language, you have to learn a lot of concepts for computer graphics, like how lighting works, what is what is a reasonable thing to do, and what is gonna drop the frame rate. So you have to learn those things, and you have to practice a lot, because in gaming they don't ask you for your grades, they ask you for your portfolio. And having a portfolio is the most important thing. Like you need to, even if you like make like a game like Pac-Man, for example, just recreating Pac-Man will teach you a lot. Like
Wow.
there are gonna be a lot of problems that you will
Mm.
face, and you have to come up with solutions for that. So I think, yeah, it's just like learning a language, you need to practice. So, and you also need to make some projects, which is similar to like web development too. Like if you want to do web development, you need to show a portfolio that you have made so many websites and stuff like that. So it's, yeah, similar. You just
Got
need
it.
to practice.
Got it.
Yeah.
Amazing. So, I mean, now that you were telling about, you need to, it's like learning a programming language. So, like, is there any software or is there any framework or something like that that a student should start off with that, you would suggest
Yeah.
for beginners?
As Faizan's mentioned, like you can use Unity or Unreal Engine if you have like good C sharp or C++. I mean, you can get away with not knowing C++ too in Unreal Engine. So, but yeah, like just watch some tutorials, just try to follow them, and then just try to create something by yourself, and learn like how to Google for errors, because sometimes the errors are visual, and then you need to figure out how to find a solution. It's not going to throw an error at you, it's just going to look wrong, and then you
Got
have
it.
to figure out, oh, why is it looking wrong.
Oh, I'm
And
pretty
you have
sure
to
the
learn
people
that.
from
Yeah,
Vivekanand can do that. I've seen, like we have done that. We all have been there, so we know we are skilled enough
yeah,
for that.
yes. So
But yeah,
yeah,
definitely.
on top of just programming, there are a lot of visual things, a lot of design decisions, like what feels good, what doesn't feel good. Yeah,
Mm.
yeah.
So, there's
So
like a lot of stuff to get started with, honestly. You just need to figure out one that you could start off with. So, the great, I mean, Faizan, what about you? I mean, what would you
So
like to tell a student who wants to start off? And secondly, who was your teacher when you started off with learning these softwares and all the prerequisites that were needed?
to be honest, it was me. So I've always been a self-taught person. I like, because to be honest, one thing that I would like to suggest it to the college curriculum also. If the, I mean, to be honest, we are not autonomous right now. We are not, right. So yeah, it would be difficult. But to be honest, C++ should be there in our core curriculum, because C++ is a really strong language, and it's used in a lot of places. We do teach, they do teach C in like SP and stuff, but that's not enough. And one thing I like to point out, if you wanna become, so his field is different, his field like simulation and everything. If you wanna be a hardcore game programmer, if you know any other language, they don't care. They don't care at all. Only and only if you're good in C++, because when it comes to C++, it's a bit unique from other languages, due to things like garbage collection that you have to handle on your own. It doesn't have any garbage collection. It's very low level, not very low level, but it's quite low as compared to the other high level languages. It comes very close to the machine, so you can easily optimize things. So when I started off, to be honest, a lot of things that I've learned that are required in the gaming industry, I learned in my masters. It is very difficult if you don't know where to look for, to study it beforehand. But now, since like I've learned, so you guys can actually have the books of C++. Yeah, there's a there's a really nice book called The Beautiful Design of C++, I guess that's what it's called. And it tells you the different, design patterns. So in gaming industry, if you want to enter, there are a few things that are very crucial. First of all, your C++ skills should be really strong. Okay, your basics. Leave about the advanced stuff. You can learn that later on. That's fine. But your basics should be really strong. This won't work. Like you see a code and it's working, but then you see a bug, but that bug is not frequent. So you're like, if it works, don't touch. That logic doesn't work in the gaming industry, because in the gaming industry, if you are not optimized your code, a bug, if it's not appearing, doesn't mean it has gone. It is still there, and you have to have a habit of looking into things and solving them out. So that is one behavioral characteristic you need to have. Apart from this, you need to know how to design stuff. So design patterns, I don't remember if you have studied that much, but there's something like command palette and stuff like that. Basically, how a code should be arranged, all the concepts like polymorphism, inheritance, how they should be used to make a skeleton of things, So these are the few things, and you can find pretty good books. But one thing I would say is for anyone who's interested in becoming a game programmer, specifically, I'm not talking about simulations or developer or anything, is whenever you do your assignments in the class, always try to focus. So basically, I remember that I was given the option, either you can do it in Python or C++. If you can, try to do it in C++. If you have time constraints, then definitely don't go for it, because we don't want to get KTs in assignments. So always focus on maybe starting your assignment early on, so that you can write a proper C++ code, maybe optimize it, your code runs better than other people, and during the process you will learn quite a lot. Also, one more thing. So as he said that making Pac-Man, you can make a Pac-Man. So I cannot disclose the name of the company, but one of the biggest company, in one of their interviews, like one of their technical interviews, that was one of my project. I had to solve a few bugs in the Pac-Man game that they had sent me. So it's pretty accurate, to be honest. If you're going to gaming industry, these all things matter. And uh, always, so during your course, you do your course, your main course, which is there, keep some time to practice your programming skills, specifically for C++ programming skills. That is really crucial before you come here, because when I came here, the first module was like very relaxed. Everything I learned, that was everything I learned in my 11th and 12th standard. To be honest, CBSE 11, 12 C++ is pretty good for your basics. And then as soon as I moved on to the second module, like real game engineering, I was like blank. What's going on? Because other students, they had studied C++ in their whole graduation and everything. For me, it was a totally new thing. So yeah, I cannot emphasize more on that, how much you should focus on C++. But if you are thinking of becoming a game designer or something like that, not specifically focused on programming sides, or even if focused on programming, not on doing the tools or anything core in the game engine, then you can basically go with C# or work on game engines and stuff like that, and you can become a designer or a game programmer, generic game programmer. So yeah, that's pretty much it.
Got it. So I think that I was going to go ahead and ask you about, does someone need to be like a programmer to enter into the gaming industry? But I think you answered that question.
I'll actually if I'll also have a few more points to add on to that.
Cool. Go ahead, please.
Yeah. Okay. So the thing is, in programming, and this I came to know like quite a while back, and I was surprised when I came to know this. Do you need to be a programmer? When I say a programmer, like that means that could mean a lot of things. One of the things is like knowing C++. Do you need to be like proper hardcore programmer like that, or do you need to be a programmer who knows the logic and can design using something like blueprints or something like that, like pick and drop? So yes, you can be that, or you can also be a designer. That is like an artist. Designer, as in like I'm talking about the artist. So you can be a story writer. You can be a lawyer. You can be a doctor. You can even be a person from electronics, like Sony and everyone. They hire people from electronics. So to be honest, gaming industry is such a creative industry. Doesn't matter what you are, you can find a job in the gaming industry. So like I've seen a lot of so one day I was having this debate with one of my friends, and I was like, bro, this thing is not there in gaming industry. And then from somewhere he brings a company that's actually hiring those people. And I'm like, okay, so basically, okay, the myth is busted. There's no regardless of which field you belong to. If you know a friend who's interested in going into gaming, regardless of what he's interested in, he can actually join the gaming industry. One good thing is, whenever you decide your career, okay, always think about so like of course you have to think about the money and your stability and everything. That will be the foremost thing. But after that, so you have like multiple interests. One of them is creative and another is like more technical. Sometimes, or maybe I think a lot of times you don't need to drop one of them. Like for me, I was interested in games. That's not anything technical, but I was interested in coding. So I just combined both of them and there was a field. And if there is not a field, become an entrepreneur and do your own thing. So always go ahead and find for such things in gaming industry. It's open for all, not just for programmers. It doesn't matter which are you from, what is your background, what is, even people who are in like doing in electronics and stuff like that, and they're interested in coding. I've seen a lot of people from Vivekan already doing that. So they can also, start learning C++. I've seen a lot of quick learners who learn and they learn more than the like other people who are doing computer science and stuff like that. So pretty much anyone can enter. You should just be passionate. To be honest, gaming industry is for someone who's passionate. And one more thing I would want to clarify. Gaming industry is not for someone who's looking for money. Okay, especially in UK. I don't know about the other countries, but when you enter, the starting prices, the rates, they are pretty not. I wouldn't say they're bad. Like they're above average. They're definitely above average. But if you go to another software company, you'll definitely get paid more. So it is a place for passionate people, not for people seeking money.
Got it, got it. I think we all heard that loud and clear that it's all about passion when you're in the gaming industry.
Yep.
That's how you survive in the industry, at least.
Yep.
So, Umesh, you are graduating this year. So is Faizan. But I quickly want to ask you, now that you're going to be put out again into the job market world, what is the current job scenario when it comes to the gaming industry? And what is the path that you're looking to start a career in? Is it as a program developer? Is it going to be as a designer, simulator, designer? What exactly is it? And thirdly, what is a portfolio that a student should have? Because you emphasize specifically on every person having a portfolio to start their journey in the gaming industry. So what sort of a portfolio should someone have for getting into the job market right now?
So especially for game programming, they do expect like some small games, maybe some multiplayer games that would give you extra brownie points. I would say your own engine, but that's not really practical because game engines are big giant machines and you can't do everything by your own. For me, I would get into like computer graphics research. So things look a bit different for me. But if you are into like game programming, then yeah, definitely they do expect like at least one game. And if it's shipped and on Steam, that's even better because running a game in the engine and running a game as as a deployable is two different things.
Release mode.
And it's like just getting a
Yeah, I
product
know.
to run
I
properly
know what
in
you're
release
saying.
is yeah, it is a very challenging thing. And talking about your last question, there is a very good video by Riot Games. So it's like So You Wanna Make Games. It's like a playlist of 10 episodes, and each episode talks about like a different aspect in the gaming industry. Like you can be like a VFX artist, you could be like a technical artist. So technical artist, like if you are interested in art, but you are also a programmer, like a very good one, then I think technical art is gonna be your field because your job will mostly be like creating tools for artists. And most of the times, there's a saying that you don't invite a game programmer in like a game discussion meeting because they'll be like, oh, this might not work. So you need someone who like some most of the times, yeah, it's like you need a technical artist who can make the dreams of the artist come true, or else if not, then fake it till they make it. So yeah, there are a lot of posts like this, and each post has asked for their own requirements or their own different types of portfolios. So there is not like one solution to everything. Like if you want to do like AI, but like proper AI, like for animation engines, then you need some reinforcement learning research. And if you have that, they'll take you, then they won't expect you to make a game because you already did something else. So it depends on where you want to get in. And yeah, based on that, the requirements might change.
Okay, so I think we'll definitely link that video that you mentioned in the description so people can check it out and get a better understanding. But I think that was really insightful. I think I'm pretty sure people have gotten an idea about, what's a sort of a head start to getting started with their career over here. Faizan, is there something you would like to add on the same?
Yeah, so for the portfolio, yeah, as he said, that game engines are definitely something big, and I did that just because it was there in my master's course. But definitely, so one thing about gaming industry, in India, there are some places I mean, everywhere you will be taken as a generalist programmer, junior programmer, but they expect you to have some kind of expertise in something, not expertise, as in like some kind of interest in something. So, whenever you make a project, first make sure that if that project is a game, make sure that you know which part you're going to develop, which part you're going to spend your time the most. So is it the environment or the sounds? I have a lot of friends who are like, who were with me in my course, and they are now sound programmers. So can you imagine sound programmers? They make sounds. That's their job. They program sounds, and you were like, what is that? But yeah, it's a real job. You can even program sounds. So yeah, it totally depends on what you want to do, but find something that you want to do. A generalized game is also fine, but at some point of time in life you'll have to decide something. So just keep searching what you want to make. And definitely, as I said, for portfolios, like if you're gonna come for masters, a lot of these things are gonna get cleared there. But if you're directly going for the industry, have a portfolio website. Okay, so I think git.io has some of the features you can use. You can make a website on git.io, and that would be pretty good. You can upload your videos. Always, what recruiters like is not a big paragraph about games and everything. Just videos on the first, like you can just go there, video, a bit of description and what things are there, and then next one. So it should be like very easy to read, all the projects that you have done. Do I need to have a lot of projects? No. Do I need to have quality projects? Yes, you do need to. Even if you have one project and that is good, you are in. You are in the industry. It doesn't matter. But don't, and also there's one saying in the industry: do not like keep only the projects that are your best. Because you will be judged by your worst piece here. So if you put your like so. One stupid thing that I did is in my 12th, not in our 12th, like in my second or third standard, I was actually applying for internship in Ubisoft. I added one of my Pac-Man games in C++, like it's black and white. And I was like, I shouldn't have done that because you're judged by your worst game, which is there, and that clearly shows that I wasn't mature enough. But still, it's not bad to try. Like if any third year are watching me, maybe you guys are smarter than me, and you can get a job at Ubisoft internship. By the way, those internships are like 6 months longer, so you'll have to take permission from college for that.
FYI.
Anyways, yeah. Anyways, so yeah, that was pretty much it. That's how your portfolio should look like, going around things. Again, focused on C++. You can have other things that but mostly don't add it in in the portfolio. Add it in your resume, so that even if you know something extra, that would be pretty good. Also, I want to add one more thing. So Umesh said about technical artists. So in one of my interviews, now as you guys know that I'm more towards like not just being a programmer, but how the game are developed and how they'll influence the cognitive abilities of the brain. So while my interview, by the way, I actually got one job in Portsmouth. So I'm gonna be a like proper programmer in the gaming industry. So during one of my interviews, the guy asked me that like where do you want to work? Do you want to work just with programmers like in an isolated cabin, or like what was your plan? So I told him that I have this idea that the tools that are made for game developers, as in like designers, to make things, those can be modified to have a good cognitive impact on your brain. Like you have like different controls on your keyboard, right? So you can map those controls in a certain way that your muscles, when they move in a certain way, the way they affect, a lot of R&D needs to be done, but the way they will affect your brain, you're taking that into account and not just what's going on inside the game. And that was a pretty good thing. So then he was like, so you would like to work with designers on stuff and like that? I'm like, yeah, cool. That's how it should be, because in a studio, a game is amalgamation of a lot of people from different fields. If you work as an isolated thing. It's not like a program that works like module 1, module 2. You just join them together using an interface. No, gaming industry doesn't work like that. In a studio, especially in a small studio, it almost becomes as a family because everyone interacts with each other for everything. So the artist will be interacting with the programmer somewhere, and the programmer. Though in big companies, it's very much isolated. I prefer it that way, that it's, everyone is interacting, because that way you get to know the sides. Like, you get to put yourself in someone else's shoes. You're not just thinking, okay, how will I develop this as a programmer? I cannot. So, or maybe it's difficult. I'll just say no. I'll just straightforward say no. You should, because when you try to, go a step forward, you learn a different thing from different fields. So this is also one thing I would like to say, that don't restrict yourself when you are exploring, especially in such a creative fields. Just keep on exploring. If you are interested in something, of course, don't go sideways as I go. But yeah, there's nothing wrong in exploring things.
Got it. I think that's great. I'm pretty sure a lot of people watching this have gotten an idea about the gaming industry as a whole, actually, more than just about jobs as a career, or how to get started. I think if people have gotten an idea as a whole. So I think we'll wrap it up on that note. I didn't know time flew so fast. It flew by really fast. I don't know why. But just on that note, I want to ask both of you just one question. To all the viewers who are here, I think who aspire to be a part of the gaming industry, what is like one thing you want to tell them? Umesh, let's start with you.
So I would recommend them to like get their feet wet before making a strong decision, because that's what I do. Like, first I did my internship, and I was like, oh yeah, this makes more sense for me, because it's like, it sounds very like a very fancy field, but it might be that you don't like it after you start working. Like, playing games and making games are two different things. So my suggestion would be better if you just like try to like get an internship, or like before committing to it, you can work somewhere, and that even makes your application for a master or some other place better, because they see that you are clear about this thing. Because everywhere in your interviews, they are going to ask like, why do you want to do this? And having a strong answer there is a very good thing. So for me, it's just try to get your feet wet with it, and yeah, do it in a professional environment, because making games at home and then making games with a team are two different things. And as he said, like, there is a lot of interaction. Do you want to sign up for it? Yeah, just find it out yourself.
Great.
Yeah, I would totally agree,
that makes
because
a lot of sense.
right now
Faizan,
for
what
my
about you?
research, I'm like, I have spent a whole sleepless month. So like the whole night, I'm just sleeping for like 3 hours every day. Can you imagine? And this is just my research project. This is not even a real AAA game. When you make AAA games, to be honest, even for like, if you don't, also one thing I would like to say, maybe this is a bit early, but when you join a company, remember that a crunching culture is there in the gaming companies. So you'll need to work overtime. So you'll always find a company that's good fit for you, and you can also look at your families, like later on your families or your personal life, basically, because gaming, even if you say so, especially if you are like very much into it and you are passionate, sometimes you can get lost. You'll forget your personal life, and the whole day you'll sit in studio and just coding. That should not how it should be. Always try to keep focused. And one point that I like to say to everyone, to sum it up, always keep on applying, be it universities, be it jobs. One thing what I was doing is, I was applying for some jobs, then I got a few rejections, a few next stages. I'm like, I'll wait for some time and then I'll apply. I lost a lot of jobs because of that. And those were night, and my friends were telling me the interview wasn't that hard. So never stop. If you have a capability of giving 6 interviews or 7 interviews at a time, and then all of those will be on the similar lines, keep on applying for the interviews. And also for the colleges, keep on applying. Do not stop. Even if you're getting rejections, it's pretty normal in gaming industry. It's pretty normal, and you are not, that doesn't mean that you are, doing something wrong. Just keep on applying. That's my, to sum it up, keep on applying.
I think that makes a lot of sense. I think that goes without saying for anything. In fact, for any field, you keep applying. It's very easy to give up, but I think that's where the whole thing about perseverance and commitment goes ahead. But yeah, I think thank you guys before we go ahead and wrap this up officially. Thank you so much for taking our time. I know you guys have been having. I know Umesh has got his exam starting from next week. I think the final exam, right, for this course, and I think you
Yeah,
have your thesis work.
Yeah.
yeah.
So I think thank you so much for taking out the time to talk to your alma mater, sort of talking to all the vested students over here. So it was great having you all here. Beyond that, too, I would like to formally give a vote of thanks. So I want to thank our entire team of teachers and our principal, vice principal, and everyone for actually going ahead and giving us students the opportunity to learn from our alumni or people who have actually had a lot of experience in the career paths they took down. So thank you so much for giving us this opportunity. And again, I would like to thank the entire team of the recording team, the moderators and everyone who have been going ahead and recording these events for all of you. And finally, I want to thank all the viewers over here for taking out the time to actually listen to this entire talk and know more about how you could improve and how you could get a head start into such a different and such a unique career. I think I didn't know myself about gaming so much, but I definitely was able to learn a lot in this 45-minute, 1 hour session. So thank you everyone for being here, and I hope you guys have a great day. Hey Umesh, hey Faizan. Thanks for joining us for this live Q&A. I think everyone thinks that this session was really insightful for them because they got to know so much about gaming in general. But I'm sure a lot of people had questions and they had things to ask you personally. So I think I have a list of questions that I would love to ask you, and it would be great if you could answer them and give our audience an insight into what you think about these questions. So let me start off first with this question by Ashutosh Mishra. He's asking which programming languages should be learned for making 3D games. Faizan, Umesh, which
Okay.
one would you suggest?
Yeah, I think C++ would definitely be one of them. And Unity uses C sharp. But like once you learn how to program, I don't think programming language is going to be any barrier for you. But I think Rust is also picking up a bit. It's quite new and memory safe language. So maybe yeah, if you want to try something new, Rust could be a good choice. Or C++ is yeah,
Yeah, so
always a safe choice.
as I said in my videos that basically it depends on what kind of game programmer you want to be. If you want to be someone who's doing scripting and all those things, C sharp is your thing. You should focus there, and it's easier to learn than C++.
Mhm.
But believe me, other than C++ and C sharp, there's nothing going on in the industry right now for like proper game development. Even like anything related to the game, either you do like drag and drop stuff or you focus on like C sharp or C++. They don't use Python. They use Python, but for like automation and stuff, for like extra side things, but not for the core things. There's one new language coming up though. It's called Carbon. So you can give it a go. Have a look what it's all about. It's basically the next version. Like Google says that it's going to be next version of C++, the the successor, and it's made by Google. So I mean, Google has made pretty good languages. So yeah,
True,
you
true.
can focus on that. But primarily, if you are really interested in like core game programming, then go with C++. Simple as that.
Great. That sounds amazing. So I think Pranav Chaturvedi wants to contact both of you guys because they have questions about Germany. So I'll be sharing. So Pranav, this is going to be a question. I'll share their
Okay.
LinkedIn handles, or I think if you guys are
Mhm.
sharing, that will be great. They're sharing their LinkedIn handles on the comment box, so you can definitely go and reach them out. I guess that won't be a problem, right?
Yeah, yeah, that's
Amazing.
definitely not a problem.
So now Rakshit, on the other hand, has quite a huge question for you guys. So let me go and state the question. To someone with an existing programming background, what's a good inception point? Like a concrete initialization, starting with this course, move on to this tutorial or stuff. Basically, I think what he's asking is where do you start and what course do you refer to and get started with this journey. So I think you can take that up again.
So basically, first of all, you should start by seeing how a game is made. So I started by one of the, as I said in my video, there was a course from Internshala where you basically used Python to develop a small game. It had few Mario characters and stuff like that, basic 2D shooter game, where you have like one character here, one there, and then there's a dragon shooting, and then player needs to dodge. So any basic game, that or either Pac-Man or even X and zeros, because that will actually tell you how a game works, the whole loop, how a game loop works. And from there you can start on building by, okay, what all things are there, how the graphics side works, then the physics side works. Now it all totally depends. If you're thinking of doing like a proper masters, a basics is fine. Maybe you'll get guided through your whole course. Just find a good course and you'll be fine. I'm not saying masters is compulsory, you can also learn by yourself, but then you'll have to look into what all things are needed. As I said, you start basically with the basics, a game loop, and then you go on to the physics, the graphics, the sound, and so on and so forth. If you are gonna go directly into the industry, then you need to make sure about few things. You should have deployed at least one of the games. That's the only way you can get into the industry. Or I mean, internships are fine, you can get into internships, but if you want to get like a real job, then you'll have to have deployed at least one game, shipped one game, for like getting directly. Or otherwise, you should have some experience, masters, or have some portfolio, some kind of portfolio. So that is very important. So your initial step is knowing the basics, maybe C++ or anything like programming language, then knowing the game loop, and all the way going and shipping, or at least developing your own game, like full-fledged develop with menus and everything. So that's I think how you should proceed. And there's no harm in watching YouTube videos or any material that you want. But don't. One thing that I will suggest is that don't stick to like, okay, I will watch YouTube videos on how to make games. Make your game. If you face a problem, then watch a YouTube video. So that's like a practical based learning. So that's how you can go and proceed with things.
And Umesh, what
Yeah,
is your take on the same?
yeah. Just to add on that, yeah, I think starting is always quite challenging. You don't know what to do. Maybe just follow. Like there are a lot of small tutorial series that maybe look into making Subway Surfer or something like that. Just follow along with one of them, and then start with your own uh, project.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
just
think that's
first like maybe pick an engine, and I think if your goal is to make an engine by yourself first, I think you should first learn some other engines. It will also help you in that task. But yeah, starting with just a game engine is gonna be very difficult, and it's probably gonna demotivate you too. So yeah, start with some existing project, do it, and then make your own project. Yeah, and then as Faizan said that, yeah, just if you get stuck somewhere, just try to Google stuff and see if you can find something. Yeah, if you can find a solution. Yeah.
got it. I think that sounds great. I think that I hope that answers your question, Rakshit. But Rakshit also has a follow up question to this about infrastructural requirement. So Unreal requires like a very good machine, right? What if we don't satisfy that and still you're a gamer who has interest in the gaming industry? How can you go about with gaming and everything?
There's Godot engine, which is open source and very lightweight. So you can start with 2D. There's no need to start with 3D. 2D is also quite in demand these days. Yeah.
That makes sense. Yeah. Yeah.
Anything?
Other than that, also like Unreal, you can use Unreal on like lower specs, but you'll need to use an older version of Unreal Engine. So if you go to their website, you can see they have listed all the Unreal engines that are there. Just check out the version that better suits your system requirements, and I guess you'll be fine. And maybe in the future you can upgrade. The thing is, Unreal Engine makes more optimized and adds new feature, but the basics of game development was there since the first version of Unreal Engine. So you'll be fine by using older versions of Unreal Engine. You'll be good.
Got it. I think that sounds great.
Yeah.
So that in that answers your question, I guess, Rakshit. Ashutosh has a very simple question. So as you said, C++ in your whole video, like C++ is something that's used very widely in the gaming industry, and I think it's the whole crux of gaming industry. But what about someone who is not so familiar with C++ and who is maybe familiar with Python? So can Python be used in the gaming industry or the game development industry?
Yeah. So the thing is, Python is good for knowing how to like how the whole system works on a higher level. But in gaming industry, when it comes to C++, the paradigms are a bit different. Both the language so first of all, C++ is like object oriented. It's not purely object oriented. It's kind of a mix, not like Java, but it's a bit different. But it's definitely not a scripting language like Python. So the thing is, the things work differently there, and Python is very slow. From Python, you can learn the overall structure, like a bigger view of how things work, but you definitely need to know one of the object oriented languages. Like even if you know Java or C Sharp or C++, you can get going with it. You can, that's a good starting point, but
Hmm.
you'll need to shift from Python to some other object oriented language.
Got it. Umesh, what do you think about the same?
Yeah, I think I agree with Faizan, and also to add on top of it, in Python you can do things like in one big file, and you can get away with lot of like software engineering mistakes that
Hmm.
you should not. It should not be a habit because you can't write like a new module for everything. You are supposed to reuse some things, and there are a lot of like engineering uh, yeah, there are a lot of like these rules that okay, you should try to reuse as much as possible, and then there should be no dependency between each other. So if you fix something, other thing doesn't get broken. That's something you need to take care of. in gaming industry because
Design paradigms. Yeah, that is
yeah,
good.
you need to you need to pay attention. So I think you at the end you have to go to C++ and learn all these good coding habits and stuff like that.
I think that sounds great. I think that also answers Nikhil's question. He had the same question that he's very good at Java, but so should he prefer Java or should he shift to gaming or should he shift to gaming and start learning C plus plus? So I think that answers your
Yeah,
question.
but it'll be easier for him because he already knows Java.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'll warn him about one thing. Java is like garbage collected. So first of all, if you don't know what garbage collection is, you'll just need to check it out. It basically means that all your memory and everything, it's freed and given to your program
Yeah.
automatically. So you don't need to do anything. Like you can take the memory, but it's freed automatically on its own. But in C++, it's upon the programmer how much memory you're taking, how much memory you're giving back, and if you lose some memory in between the program, your program will keep on consuming memory, and your
yeah,
your whole system will be a mess. So yeah, that's something that's a bit different, and that's I think a good starting point to shift from like the garbage collected object oriented languages such as Java and stuff to the C++ languages where you have to. So that's a good point, but it'll be pretty fine. You'll be fine. Believe me, you'll be fine.
That's great. I think that makes a lot of sense. Following that, again, Rakshit has got a lot of questions today. So Rakshit is asking, how different or similar is the journey aiming for a platform-specific developer, say Windows, Xbox, PS, or mobile?
Yeah, so I'll start by saying that in my course, for my like before my final year project, we had a team project. So the requirement was you have to make a game for PC, and that should also support PS4. So we had no idea how that happens. Now, what I have realized is in games, the physics part, the sound part, everything else. I mean, except for the sound part, you might need different libraries and different API supports, but the physics works the same. So everything is the same. The difference is the rendering part and in some cases the sound libraries. So you have different libraries like proprietary libraries for like PS4 for Xbox. These companies have their own libraries. How you can interact with their systems. So you just need to have modules like module A, which handles the PS4 sound things, and then like module B, which handles the PC sound things. So it's just basically plug and play. So from the programming side of things, if you go for like physics and other stuff, it's exactly gameplay. Everything is same. If you go towards rendering, now rendering it can be different. So suppose if you're using Vulkan or OpenGL or anything like that. I don't know about Vulkan. I've not used much Vulkan, but in OpenGL, it's totally like you have to write different code for like PC. And oh, by the way, yeah. So every platform you'll need to write the shader code in a different language. So every platform supports a different shader code. So shaders are nothing but they are small programs but which GPU understands, not just CPU. So for every platform we have a different shader language that it supports. So there is where things differ. Other than that, so if you're going to go into graphics, you need to worry about these things. If you're just doing gameplay or physics, it's just same. It doesn't matter which platform you're working on.
That makes sense.
yeah, yeah. So to go deeper into graphics, there are some abstraction layers that people write so that you don't have to do these repetitions. But still, when you write shaders, you have to keep in mind which platform you're writing it for because PCs can do a lot more than other platforms,
Consoles, yeah.
and some certain operators too sometimes are way faster on PC compared to mobile. So you have to do some tricks to get get it perfectly optimized. So it's not just about like your content. Apart from your content, you also have to take care of, like as he said, like which libraries are supported. But usually the engine, if it supports the device, it handles it for you. But you still have to manage shaders on your own. Like
Yeah, so basically, if you're
some,
working on a game
some
engine, like if you're making your own game engine, then it matters. Otherwise,
yeah,
Unreal, Unity,
other,
they give you
they
like,
handle it yourself.
yeah, they have
By themselves.
simply.
Yeah,
Sounds good.
but
Advait Rodkar has this question. You mentioned Riot Games. I myself enjoy Valorant. Any tips for someone aiming for that corporation? Yeah.
Cool. Should I go?
Take it away. Umesh.
Uh,
I think
uh,
I'll give
yeah,
this
so I'll
obvious
go because it's
answer.
like core
Yeah.
gaming.
Okay.
So thing is, I'm basically in the UK, and they have one branch in London. I just googled it out. Other than that, they like I haven't had many interaction with Riot Games. They didn't come to our studio. But the thing is, in gaming industry, first of all, getting into gaming industry itself is a big thing, but definitely being passionate about a company shows a lot. So when you go into their interviews, uh, they'll be happy to take you because you're passionate about it and you've been working and all that stuff. The only thing is, to get into the industry, to get into any company, the procedure is the same. You should have a good portfolio, some basics. So cracking the interview first is should be your goal. It doesn't matter which company you're aiming for. All the companies, they have similar process. You go through an MCQ, a list of MCQs. Then they will give you a small game, maybe with a few bugs. You'll have to solve that bugs. There'll be a face-to-face interview, like a normal interview to know you, and then a technical interview, in-depth interview of 2 hours or 1.5 hours. And then basically after all this happens, then they will finally will be your, like, either you'll get selected or not. Yeah, and definitely for like knowing you, and for like technical interviews and all that stuff, it does matter if you know about the company or not. So always keep in mind to do a background search, and if you're crazy about a company, you definitely would have done all that. So it, it's nothing different to, like, if you're aiming for company A or company B, your path will be the same. Just what you'll be saying in the interview will be different. So you're good to go. Just learn the basics and you're good to go.
I think that sounds perfect. I think that was all that Advait was looking for in that answer. No, Rakshit has a question specifically for you, Faizan. Okay.
Yeah, I think I saw his question on the stream. Yeah.
So they say
Yeah.
Carbon is bound to replace C++. So would that render
Mhm.
softwares like Unreal obsolete?
Okay. So the
Mhm.
thing is,
Okay.
they said this in their stream also, and
So
yeah,
a
go
small
ahead.
correction. Carbon can compile like C++ libraries too.
Yeah, I was gonna say that. So the
So
thing
it's
is,
not
it's
like
gonna be a successor. So it'll always have the backward compatibility, and that's one thing Google has been boasting about. They're like, nothing would break, which is like of previous C++ version. So it'll be a successor. So a successor with a backward compatibility. So all your older C++ code, all your game engines, everything would work fine. On top of that, you can add extra features. This is what Google is saying. Now, of
yeah,
course, it's a project. But I'm pretty sure Google is a big company, and they have launched other programming languages before. So yeah, they should be fine. Everything will be fine. Don't worry about anything else.
yeah. It's not like Carbon is gonna like
Destroy everything else.
it. Yeah, it's like two different regimes, so you can't compare them like that.
I
Yeah,
think
and to add on the Riot Games thing, so there are a lot of game jams. I would suggest you to participate in those game jams, have a team, and there are like some on presence events. Of course, not maybe not in India. I think even in India, there's
Yeah,
like
yeah, you have the game developer
Unite and
conference.
stuff
Yeah,
like that. Yeah,
IGD.
yeah, it's good to have a deployed application because there are usually headhunters from these big companies there. They have stalls there. And at that time, if you have a deployed product, it's like very easy. Like, let's say if you have an Android game on Play Store, then you can be like, oh, here, this is my game on Play Store. You can download it and check it out. So that helps a lot too. So, yeah, maybe attending some of these events, you may catch like a headhunter might like you and then you secure an interview. Maybe that's also another approach, and participating in game jams is always helpful if you want to go into like game programming and stuff like that.
Yeah, so for those who cannot go to this conference, there's also
Yeah.
a conference held locally called IGX, Indian Gaming Expo. It's held in Mumbai every
Yeah.
year. Last time they cancelled it because of COVID or something. Uh, though the other one would be better because it's a national event, but you have to pay for it. So it's like 1,000 or 2,000 is the fee for a developer. But if you are like a normal, college student like me, you can go to the Indian Gaming Expo. They're also like, I remember we had like Ubisoft stalls and everything. So they were, actively looking for people and stuff like that. So maybe you can aim for IGX. Yeah, that would be a pretty good idea to do.
I think that sounds great. But I think that was all. I Let me just quickly check if there are any more questions for you guys. I think that's pretty much it. Thank you so much, guys, for being here live to answer all of these questions that I was pretty sure people were going to ask after seeing that really insightful video. So thank you so much for taking out the time out of out of your busy schedule for attending this session, and in fact even answering all of these questions. On behalf of everyone here at Vivekanand and the organizing team, thank you to you as well as our viewers for attending this session. And yeah, I think with that, we will bring this session to an end. Thank you for being here.
Yeah, thank you.